Hi guys, my name is Lizelle. My channel is Lizelle Loves Books. I like reading fantasy romance, contemporary romance, historical romance, paranormal romance, dark romance, just romance books in general. If that sounds good to you, I would love it if you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you'd be notified every time I put up a new video. If you don't know, May is Asian Heritage Appreciation Month. Something like that. I can't remember what the exact name, what they call it, but I know it's Asian Appreciation Month. So I thought I'd give you some recommendation books where an Asian character is the lead in the romance book. The first book I want to recommend you to read is Twisted Love by Anna Wong. It's about Alex and Ava. Ava Chen, she's Chinese. And it starts out when Ava's brother Josh is going on a business trip like Doctors Without Borders. He's a doctor. So Josh asked his friend Alex to look after his sister while he's away. And he's reluctant to do it, but Josh is his best friend, so he's going to say yes. And it's a grumpy sunshine trope. She always likes to look at the bright side of things, and he does not. Something terrible happens to his family, so he doesn't open up to a lot of people. So he's always grumpy. He doesn't like anybody besides Josh. But he starts to open up to her when they essentially move next door to each other. And her friend, she has a group of friends, and they make a bet with her. Like, why don't you try to see if you can melt away his hard exterior. So that's what she tries to do. And once you read the book, she slowly does that. And they form a relationship. And Ava has a traumatic childhood of her own. Like, she's afraid of water. And Alex tries to help her get rid of that fear, like her fear of water. If you read the book, you'll know why she's afraid of water. So it's a brother best friend. It's best friend sister trope. Grump Sunshine, millionaire. billionaire. Yeah. He's president of his own company, so he's a millionaire, billionaire. He's rich. So I recommend you read Twisted Love by Anna Wong. Book 2 I want to recommend to you is the third book in that series, Twisted Hate. It's book 3 is book 3 is Josh's story. Josh is Ava's brother. Josh and Ava are Chinese. And Josh's story is with Jules, Ava's best friend. So the tropes on this one is enemies to lovers, forced proximity, so somehow Jules and Josh end up in the same work environment, and one day they're both stressed out, and they were like, "You're stressed out, I'm stressed out, why don't we have a physical relationship just to de-stress?" So it turns into a physical relationship right away, but the friendship is slow going. The friendship's part is slow burn. Boom. So it's enemies to lovers, forced proximity, a lot of steam, and they hate it. Just to let you know, they don't like each other just because of a misunderstanding, like all those years ago. If you read the book, you'll know. But so the second book is called Twisted Hate by Anna Wong. The third book I'm going to recommend is Fear of Falling by S.L. Jennings. And this is about Cam and Blaine. Cam is half Filipino, half Irish, I think. And Cam comes from a really troubled past. Like, she suffered like physical abuse, emotional abuse. She doesn't feel like she's good enough. Before you read this book, I implore you to read the trigger warnings before you read this book. But it is such I think a healing story, because all throughout the book she thinks she's broken and she cannot love anyone, but you see Blaine trying to tell her no, she's not broken, that what happened to her wasn't her fault. It was the fault of the person that was hurting her, not her fault. So all throughout the book, she feels that she's not worthy of someone like Blaine, and Blaine is trying to tell her she is worthy of love. But if only she wasn't so scared to love someone. So, yeah, nobody talks about this book. It's called Fear of Falling by S.L. Jennings. I read this book a long time ago, so that's basically the synopsis of it. The third book I'm gonna recommend is the fourth book I'm gonna recommend is called book number 4. Is called Hate to Want You by Aisha. I think her name is Aisha Ray. I listened to the audiobook a long time ago. I don't remember the author name. Aisha Ray. And you have Libby. And I can't remember the guy's name. Libby and hold on one second. You have Libby and Nicholas. It's kind of a secret relationship type thing because both their families are like sworn enemies. Like they used to get along, but then they don't anymore. So they have this deal, like one night a year, they just hang out and get physical, but they do it in secret, and nobody is supposed to know. Fast forward years later. Oh wait. Yeah. Nobody. Yeah. They have a secret relationship where they meet each other once a year. And they do that every year, but one year Livy doesn't show up. Libby, I forgot. I haven't read this book in a long time. I think Liv doesn't show up for a long time. And like a couple of years go by and Nicholas is now the president of his current company, and Liv shows up back in town, and they try to avoid each other because their families do not like each other, and so they try to avoid each other, but it's not easy because they have this connection, but it's hard for them because they can't talk about it because their families hate each other. And Nicholas wants more than just a physical relationship, and for Livy, that's all she wanted is a physical relationship with him because, you know, their families wouldn't like it if they got together. The last book I'm going to recommend to you is The Courage of a Cowboy, and I think this is the most light-hearted one because the heroine in this is called Cass. I I think her name is Cass or Cassidy or Cass. It's her best friend's wedding, and she's the bridesmaid, and she has been in love with her best friend's brother for ages, for as long as she can remember. And one day she gets the courage to tell him, like, no, I've been in love with you for years, but he thinks like it's a joke. He makes light of it. He makes light of it, and Cass is humiliated. Meanwhile, the groom's best friend, the groom of the wedding, his best man asked Cass to dance so she wouldn't be humiliated further. And one thing leads to another. Their best friends go on the honeymoon, so they need 2 people to look after their ranch. So the bride calls on Cass, and the groom calls on his best friend. I can't remember his name. But as they spend time together, the guy falls for Cass, but Cass is still in love with the brother. But as they spend time on the ranch, she starts to develop feelings for him too. But she was like, but she still has feelings for her best friend's brother, so she doesn't know what to do. Like, does she stay true to her feelings for her best friend's brother, or does she go with this new guy who actually sees her as a woman? Those are my recommendations for an Asian lead character in a romance novel. I highly suggest you check them out. Oh, and if you did, I do want to say the audiobook for Hate to Want You is good. It has one of my favorite narrators, Sebastian York. Sebastian York is a good voice actor for books. I think the audiobook is great. So if you like listening to audiobooks, please listen to the audiobook of Hate to Love You. No, not Hate to Love You. Hate to Want You. The book is called Hate to Want You. So those are my recommendations. I hope you check that. I hope you check them out and read them, because I rarely see an Asian lead character in romance books. Those are just the books I've seen. So please subscribe and comment down below and hit that notification bell so you would be notified every time I put out a new video. And comment down below. Thank you. Bye. See you next time.